What's up, fellas? You're tuned into Male Choices. In today's video, we're breaking down why so many women are filled with regret after leaving their marriages for Chad or the carousel. Make sure to like, subscribe, and ring that bell so you never miss the truth. Let's get into it.
I swear some men only put value on their wives once they are gone, sick, or dead. It is insane that they are fine with putting a fiduciary value on it, except when it comes to stay-at-home moms, except when it comes to just your wife in general.
There are men that do not value women's time and they do not value women's work, especially if it's unpaid work they're doing. I post a ton about domestic labor, the laundry, the cooking, the cleaning, the caretaking, and every time I do, without fail, there are men in the comments who say, that is not hard work. That is not hard work. Why are you complaining? Why are you nagging? Why are you always talking about this? It is not hard work. It is easy, so stop talking about it. That is what they are saying in the comments. And then when somebody has the audacity to ask them to cook dinner, take care of their own kids, do their own laundry, they want to get paid for it. They want to get paid for it. It's not hard work, but if they're doing it, they deserve to get paid. And that's because a lot of these men believe that their time is more valuable than women's time. Women should be doing all of these things, not complaining about it and doing it for free. But if they are doing it, then they deserve to be paid. They deserve acknowledgement. They deserve to be seen as taking on this hardship for their family, for simply doing domestic labor and taking care of their own kids, right? And I'm not just saying this. When women are working full-time, even when they are the breadwinner, they do the bulk of the domestic labor and the caretaking. Even when they're the sole earner, they do a fair share of the domestic labor and caretaking. But when men are the breadwinners or the sole winners, they do a very minimal amount of caretaking and domestic labor because they value their time more than women's time. Even when women say, hey, I'm the breadwinner, I make more money, men go, well, your job's probably not that hard. Your job can't be that hard because you're a woman. So of course it couldn't be hard. It couldn't be hard, and therefore it's not valuable. I'm appreciative because I need your money and I'm going to spend your money, but actually don't talk about it because it's not hard. So I still expect you to do the laundry and the cooking and the cleaning and taking care of the kids. I understand that you make more money. I understand that you're the only one working, but I still expect you to show up at home. But when women dare to ask of that of their partners, these men go up in arms like, oh my God, what are you complaining about? How could you be mad at me? I have a job, I make money, and you want me to do the dishes? Are you kidding me? My time is more valuable than that. That's all it comes down to. They think their time is more valuable than women's time. They think the time that they spend at work is more valuable even if they're paid less because their work is harder. Because what they do is more important. Because they're a man. That's really what it comes down to. Like, I'm not saying all men. I have to always put that disclaimer. I'm not saying all men, but a lot of men. The data shows it. The data shows that this is how a lot of men think and act. Because if they didn't, then this woman wouldn't be making a video about how she has a job where she literally has men filing claims because women can't fold laundry and they have to do it. And so they need money for it.
This is exactly what you get when you marry one of these feminists from the purple-haired movement. They love to talk about chores, but let me break it down for you. How much does a man really dirty up the house when he's mostly out working, only coming home for dinner? These women love to complain about housework, but if you're staying at home while your man supports the family, what's your contribution? Making TikToks. Think about it. If you get sick, who pays the medical bills? Your husband. Who pays the rent or mortgage? Your husband. The kids' expenses? Husband. The car, the gas, even the groceries? All on your husband. So if he's handling all the financial responsibilities, why can't the house, a house he's paying for, be kept clean? But no, they always have something to complain about. Most men today know how to handle their responsibilities. They take out the trash, mow the lawn, clean the pool if there is one, maintain the car and fix things around the house. But according to these women, men do nothing. You want to see the real difference? Look at houses in a neighborhood where there's a couple versus a single mom. The yard's a mess, the house looks abandoned because she's not handling the man's tasks. But sure, the man never helps at home, right?
There's one thing that a narcissist will do 9 out of 10 times, if not every time, when you're having an argument. I was married to a narcissist, and 9 out of 10 times when we had an argument, if not every time, he would do this one thing, and it irritated me so bad. I'm not going to act like I'm a perfect person. I never did anything wrong in my marriage, But this is one thing that I would highly recommend you not do to your spouse, especially when you're arguing, is bring up something from the past, especially if that person has already apologized, you've talked through it multiple times, done what they need to do for you to move past it. So when me and my husband would argue, he would say, okay, well, remember when you did this? Remember when you did this? And he would bring up something that happened years ago, like in the beginning of us dating. I'm just gonna fully expose myself, tell you what happened. Again, I'm not perfect. I was 18 years old when we started dating. And so this is 18-year-old me being stupid and just whatever. Me and my friend wanted alcohol, and our manager was sketchy enough to buy us some and give it to us. And I told him, my boyfriend, who was the narcissist that I ended up marrying at the time, I ended up lying to him about how we got the alcohol. But he was older than me. He was old enough to get his own alcohol, like go to the store, whatever. He was over 21. And I just wanted to be cool and be like, ooh, look, like I can get my own alcohol too. Because we had been dating for maybe like 2 or 3 weeks. So I just wanted to look cool for him. I know it's stupid, but I did. And even though it was a stupid lie, it was still a lie, and I was in the wrong for lying. And I apologized multiple times. I explained the situation, but 2 years into our marriage, 1.5 years, 6 months into our marriage, whatever, he would bring it up every single time. Remember when you lied about this? Remember when you did this? Remember, like, and I would say, I apologize for that. We've talked through it. This was the situation. And he would be like, I bet you're not even telling me the full story. And he would want me to go through that whole story again of when we were dating for like the first 3 weeks of when I lied, which again, I shouldn't have lied. It was dumb. But I apologized multiple times about it, and he would still bring it up as ammo because that was like the one thing he had on me. And why do they do this? They do this to completely avoid any kind of accountability, especially if the argument has nothing to do with what they're bringing back up. We would be arguing about, hey, you didn't put your laundry in the spot that I've asked you to please do over and over. He'd be like, remember when you lied to me? It would be like completely just misdirection. Take the blame off of me and put it all on you for no reason. And again, I'm not perfect in the marriage. I said some things that I shouldn't have said, just like everybody. I'm human. But that was the one time that I legitimately did something that he had the right to be mad about, was that I lied, which again, don't lie. That's dumb. Even if it's a stupid lie, don't lie. You know, there's no point in doing that. But he harped on that for years. And that's what narcissists do. They will take that one little thing where they like caught you. They got you, and they can't move past that one thing, and it will irritate the out of you. It doesn't matter how many times you apologize, work through it, whatever, they're still going to bring it up.
Bro, they always spin the story to make themselves look good. When a man keeps bringing up the past, it's usually because she cheated or crossed some serious line, but she'll twist it, acting like it was nothing. Just a casual night of drinking with a friend, right? Total nonsense. Yet she feels totally justified in insulting him or complaining about him, but the moment he reminds her of her mistake, suddenly he's the bad guy. It's all double standards. She can call out your faults, but the moment you do the same, you're labelled the villain. Responsibility is like kryptonite for women. They hate it. They accuse you of the very things they're guilty of, but when you hold them accountable, you're automatically in the wrong. A narcissist? That's the woman who always plays the victim no matter what went down. She's never wrong because in her mind, she's always the victim, and you're always the villain. Women don't like being corrected or told what's up by a man, especially when they're trying to dodge accountability for their actions. They'll throw it back at you, but owning up, that's their weakness.
No, our generation is cooked. There's no way! Kakas' ex-wife has just come out saying why she actually divorced Kaka, who she was married to for 10 years, saying, Kaka never betrayed me. He treated me well. He gave me a wonderful family, but I was not happy. Something was missing. The problem was he was too perfect for me. You're telling me that this woman married her childhood sweetheart and divorced him after 10 years, even after 2 children, to end up going with a bad boy. So she was married to a Champions League winner, World Cup winner, and Ballon d'Or winner, and yet she still divorced him. Not to mention that this guy is one of the most handsome men in football. I'm not gay, but this guy is majestic, let's be real. Lads, if this guy ended up being single and got divorced for being too perfect, our chances are not even slim. There's no hope for us.
This is quite literally a good man's worst fear. Because I bet you anything that man did everything that he thought he needed to do to be a good husband. The problem with that is when there happens to be a mismatch, meaning what he is doing is not exactly what she needs. Guess whose responsibility that is to communicate it? It's hers, and that's what men are saying. They're saying that you need to communicate this to them because they are not mind readers.
No, bro, the issue here is this man forgot his masculinity. He catered to her every need, trying to be the perfect husband, removing any drama and taking away her ability to play the victim. But you know why she left him? Because he bored her. She was living in this golden cage full of love, but like a bird, she didn't want that perfect place. She craved instability, anxiety, and uncertainty, because that's what excites her. I always tell men, prioritize yourself. A masculine man knows how to guide a woman's energy. He knows when to be strong and when to be affectionate, when to give a woman a little salt and when to sprinkle the sugar. If you master this, she'll stay hooked on the roller coaster of emotions. This man, he was all sweetness, no salt, he never said no, always did everything right. But even the Bible says a loving father corrects. A man has to set boundaries, say no sometimes. That's what generates respect. If he had been the kind of man to say no, put her in her place, she would have craved his approval, entered her feminine energy, and actually wanted to do things for him. But when you're the guy that always says yes, she loses respect. That's why she left him for a less successful man, someone who brought anxiety and drama, the emotions that make her feel alive. With Mr. Perfect, she dried up, didn't even want to be intimate. Like I always say, anger and love are both emotions. Learn how to handle them, and you've got the key.
Some husbands and some wives end up regretting getting a divorce. For better or worse, in my experience, oftentimes it's the husband, it's the man who's paying alimony, who's paying child support. Men sometimes only think about the short term, what their life will immediately look like after the divorce. They're not looking at the long term. If you're a guy, if you're thinking about leaving your wife, you gotta look at the whole picture before you make that decision. What's gonna happen to the kids? Where are your kids gonna live? Are you gonna have to pay support to your ex? Are you gonna have to divide your assets? Are you gonna have to sell the house? Are you gonna have to buy a new house? Is your life going to be harder by divorcing versus trying to make the marriage work?
Here's the cold reality. 40% of your paycheck goes to a woman who doesn't want to work, alimony draining you dry, and you're forced to support your kids until they're 18 while also having to pay rent because she took the house. How are you supposed to move forward? Men don't regret the divorce itself. We regret the lifelong debt that comes with it. Alimony today is nothing but modern-day slavery. Men are hit with child support too, which is mainly only enforced on men. If a father gets custody, the woman doesn't pay, and if a man falls behind on child support, he's thrown in jail. But when a woman owes hundreds of thousands in back payments, nothing happens to her. You've lost half your savings, assets, a chunk of your 401k, and yet you're still paying. That's why I say any man who bounces back from a brutal divorce is a hero. Imagine having no family, friends, or siblings to lean on, living in a rundown hotel or renting a room with strangers just to start over. That's why you never see men celebrating after a divorce. What's left to celebrate when all you've got are bills and debt? Alimony should be abolished. It's nothing more than a state system designed to enslave men.
When the butterflies turn to dust that covered my whole room. Now I'm pacing on.
I'm sorry, but these are such small things that really literally just occur from a man existing in a house. And on top of it, these things are really super fixable. You just have to have a reasonable discussion. There's really no reason for an ultimatum, and especially not a threat of divorce. But even at worst, if he flat out refuses to keep the laundry picked up, the drawers closed, and to stop playing his Xbox as much, is he a good man? Is he a hard worker? Does he make you feel loved? Does he respect you and your opinion? Is he loving and giving towards you? Do you enjoy spending time with him? These are the things that matter, not the stuff. Because if he was worth marrying, it's actually worth doing those little extra things that result from him living in the same space as you. Especially when nobody is perfect, and I'm sure that he picks up the slack and he does things for you. I think that if you can just accept it because it's so small and petty, then do that. If you can't, then just have a discussion about it. Don't make a TikTok and put that man on blast for something that he probably doesn't realize bothers you that much.
This is exactly why my grandmother used to say, Keep your dirty laundry at home. Look at marriages today. Women have zero tolerance for men. There's this stigma that a man has to handle everything perfectly, no mistakes allowed. I heard an analogy once. A woman can have a man who checks 80% of her boxes, but she'll leave him because of the 20% he's missing. She goes out looking for that 20%, finds it, but then realizes this new guy lacks the 80% her ex had. What does that tell you? You've got two choices: work it out as a couple, or keep jumping from one guy to the next because nobody's perfect. But women don't think like that. They forget that men tolerate a lot of their flaws too. We're more forgiving, we let things slide. Women, though, they always want that perfect man they've built up in their heads. And even if you get close to it, they'll still find something else to complain about.